Now to introduce Jessica Bockler, who has extensive experience in participatory arts facilitation, accessing our creativity and imagination for flourishing and social change. So welcome and thank you, Jessica.
Thank you very much. I'm incredibly moved to be here. My father passed away not so long ago. So Paul, your story really touched me. And he was very much informing my own journey as someone convening spaces for change, drawing on the arts, yes, very much, but also drawing on spirituality and transpersonal and integral psychology. So I'm a co-founding director of the Alef Trust. We're a global higher education provider, and we offer courses in consciousness studies, in spirituality, in transpersonal psychology. We run MSc and PhD programs in those areas. They're validated by UK universities, and gosh, yes, we're in the higher education space, and we are trying to re-enchant the academy. That's how I would put it. And we're also hosting something that we're calling the Conscious Community Initiative, which is really a research hub presently involving some 375 global members who are engaged in projects that are exploring the intersections of inner work and systemic change. And I'm actually going to be focusing on this particular piece today. I want to showcase an inquiry that we undertook between 2020 and 2022. And yeah, this is really what I'm pulling out are some headlines from that inquiry, but we also have a full report on this, and you can access that report by going to the Alef Trust website and by having a look at our publications there. So let me tell you a little bit about what we did, and then I'm going to share some of the results from that work. So between 2020 and 2022, we conducted this inquiry involving multiple case studies which focused on the experiences of change facilitators working in 12 projects in Mexico, in South Africa, in Romania, Pakistan, Ireland, and the UK. And areas of work included permaculture, integrative education, yoga therapy for labor rights activists, and also nature-inspired therapeutic and community interventions, which involved a lot of creativity and the arts. And we sat in circle with the project leaders to explore their beliefs and their values and how these translated into action in their projects and how they experienced the processes of holistic change facilitation in their work. And we very much focused on examining the interior, the psychological dimensions, as well as the contextual and the structural factors that enabled and supported their work or undermined their work. And I want to share some of the key findings of that work with you. And it completely resonates with everything that's been explored and expressed in the room today. So it feels very resonant to be here and to have this opportunity to share this with you. So some of the key findings from this inquiry really affirmed that holistic change follows natural cycles and seasons. That when we engage in holistic processes of change facilitation, nature becomes our teacher. And we recognize that when we can let our projects unfold in accordance with natural rhythms, then they can be this organic unfolding and flourishing. And often we find that this is not how systems are set up. Usually there are fixed timetables, there are fixed budgets and budget constraints, and those do not reflect the sort of natural ebbs and flows of human energy and of the energy of these projects. So there are implications really for how we run our daily operations, how we budget, how we build project timetables, how we look after ourselves, that commissioners and funders really need to take on board. And Another point I want to make is that holistic change also really requires this deeper engagement with sources that go beyond the self, beyond the egoic self. And this really means engaging a multiplicity of human faculties, excuse me, beyond the cognitive, really tapping embodied knowing, emotional knowing, spiritual knowing. And many of these ways of knowing are presently undernourished, and we need to really prioritize them in our work. And this also means working with and recognizing the archetypal dynamics that are at play in change facilitation. Because when we engage in processes of transformation, the archetypal dimensions of our being are engaged. Consciously or unconsciously. And we tend to get caught up in them and in prevailing archetypes that are finding unconscious expression if we are not actively engaging in those deeper streams of consciousness in our work. One example of that would be the archetype of the martyr, which is very prevalent in many people who are undertaking or engaged in processes of change facilitation. They're constantly giving without taking care of themselves. And of course, that leads to burnout. And we see that very much in the health professions, the social care professions, the teaching professions, and so on. There's a lot of burnout. And there's also this need really then to open and to release to the unknown, to actively engage with the unknown, to develop skills, to become skillful in navigating the unknown. I would almost call it a form of channeling. We're making this effort to awaken to the full spectrum of our senses and sensibilities, open our awareness, listen, deep listening, that's been said today already, and to explore new ways of sense making, to give the kind of emerging impulses and insights their fullest expression. And that also enables the fostering of collective intelligence, the emergence of collective intelligence between us. So it's not just an individual journey, it's very much a collective and interconnected journey. The other piece I want to acknowledge today, before I round off, is the many challenges and shadows that we face in change facilitation. They really need to be acknowledged and better understood. And they revolve around navigating clashes with prevailing mindsets and systems, because these can be very deeply disempowering for people who are working on change processes. They also revolve around shadows of privilege and shadows of manipulation and extractivism. And these shadows can be present in our work, and we may not be aware of them. We're not aware of the lenses that our own privileges often instill within us. So there's a strong need for peer support, for a supportive community that helps us see more of ourselves as we engage in processes of change facilitation. One of the key points is around a great need for self-regulation and co-regulation, seeing ourselves more fully as change facilitators. And I just say one last sentence, and that is to say, we are recognizing that holistic change agency requires supportive community. And we're starting a new round of our Nurturing the Fields of Change program, which is free. So you're welcome to join that, and maybe the link can be shared for the registration for that. Thank you so much for giving me the time to speak here. Thank you.